Hey, welcome back to Inside Crazy. Your host, your ho-host. I am the ho of all hosts. JJ Irvine, Johnnie June. It's called Inside Crazy because I'm crazy and we're literally talking about what's inside my head. So let's do it. I have a piece of paper in front of me this time so that I'm actually somewhat on track and can talk about stuff without going all over the place, because that's the problem with these podcasts is that I can't talk straight. Can't talk straight. I can't stay on one topic, okay? I'm all over the place. I'm nervous. I'm not used to filming myself lately because I am just so bad when it comes to my anxiety and being in public and being around people and looking at myself. So, with that being said, wanted to title this podcast Exact Reasons Why I Cut Myself because, well, I figured I'd talk about the reasons, exact reasons why. I mean, I looked down at my arm. Sorry, this is going to be a blunt video, all right? So if this is too sensitive for people, click out now because I'm going to be going into detail. Let it go. Okay, sorry, that was I was thinking of a song, and if anybody knows, I doubt they could get it from me just making random fucking noises, but comment below. Anyways, when I look at certain scars on my arm, I can remember exactly why I cut myself that day. Like, what was the reasoning I had behind, what were the feelings that were going through my head? What exactly was going on in my mind that was like, hey, JJ, go cut yourself, It's kind of interesting because at this point, there are so many scars. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera or anything. For the people watching this as a YouTube video, I'm looking at the scars. They're so fucking pretty. Okay. So, let me get into the first one. The first one that I remember so very well because it kind of is away from the other ones, and it's significant. It's the first time I ever cut myself very deep. Before that, I had been cutting myself since 6th grade, but it was very small cuts. It was very, very minor, and I don't know. This one was very specific because let's go back to, well, I believe it was 2011 or 12. I think it was 2012. I think I had already graduated from high school at this point, and I was working at Olive Garden. I had barely been working there. Side note to people, when you have a severe panic disorder, don't work at a restaurant. Fuck that shit. I mean, I was a manager at a pizza place, so that I can deal with my customers. But in an environment where you have to deal with the employees or people, your coworkers or people above you, that is the most stressful thing I've ever put myself through. Just because of what illness I have, it's so exaggerated because of what illness I have, and it's miserable. Anyways, so I was a hostess, wasn't a server or anything. And so in a restaurant environment, I've learned that when you're a hostess, you don't get a lot of respect from servers. Maybe you do. I don't know. I've worked at Olive Garden, a pizza place besides Mountain Mike's that I managed, and what was the other one? Oh, BJ's. And each time I felt so disrespected and so looked down upon because I wasn't a server. I was a hostess. Even though I was working very hard each time, always making sure I had something to do, whether that was like getting the menus and cleaning them, or I didn't want to just stand there because I've learned, okay, little side note here for people who want to get through their job quicker. The more you work, the faster time goes by. Holy crap. Once I realized that in my life, I worked my ass off because I'm just wanting to get out of here. Anyways, so I had barely been working at this Olive Garden, and at this point, I just had been getting in disagreements, I think, with the servers, or like the servers talked down to me, and then like I had some issues with customers. I don't know. Basically, it just was not an environment that I should have been in. It was awful for someone like me, and it was fucking awful. It was fucking awful. I'm thinking about how many times I've seen employees go through that place too, because it just, the turnaround was so ridiculous because it sucked there. Anyways, okay, I don't even want to think about it. So, I don't know, I had a horrible day. It was a horrible, horrible day, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna quit. I have to. I can't stand it here. And I was absolutely so scared to tell my parents that I wanted to quit, because I've been living with my parents, and I don't, that's a whole different topic that I can get into, especially because people are so mean about it on the internet. But in 2012, I was living with my parents, and I've been so close to my parents that I've wanted to be able to make them proud and everything. And a lot of my life, I have actually quit a lot of things. And I never knew why until I was older, but it was because of my anxiety. It was just way too much for me. I put too much pressure on myself in literally everything I've ever done. And I'm way too sensitive. That just goes with anxiety. It's just being sensitive. It sucks. I want to punch myself in the face so many times. It's like, JJ, dude, just stop. Don't be so sensitive to that. But I can't help it. That's the problem. I mean, I can. I'm working on it. But you know what I mean. Anyways, back to Olive Garden. Yeah, see, I'm all over the place. Well, good thing this is a fucking podcast, JJ, because you can talk however long you want. So, that's right. If you missed that, it was... Anyways, back to being a little more mature. So I get home, and I tell my parents that I want to quit. And they did not respond well to that. Back at this point, I didn't know that I had anxiety. I just knew at this point that I was depressed. I didn't know that there was more wrong with me. I knew there was something wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. And so, if you don't know what you have, then your parents don't know what you have. Especially when both my parents don't have any kind of mental illness. And anyways, so I tell them. They don't take it very well, but not in a horrible way. They don't yell at me or anything. They just show the fact that they're disappointed. It's fine if you piss off a parent, but if you disappoint them, that's a whole different story, because, oh God, I am not okay with people being disappointed in me, because I judge myself so much. So whenever someone I am close to and care about and actually want them to look up to me, or not look up to me because they're my parents, but, just see me as a genuine good person. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Anyways, they were disappointed. They didn't yell. They just showed that they were disappointed. And that being said, I became so mad at myself. So mad. I mean, that's the root of all the issues, honestly, is that I just put so much pressure on myself. I mean, I swear, one of these days, I'm going to make a YouTube video about how much pressure I've put on myself, and show an old home video of me just getting so pissed off during a basketball game because I missed a shot or something, when I was a kid. Because nothing I did ever was good enough. I was always so disappointed in myself. So with them having that negative response, I had a negative response to myself. And I hadn't cut in a really long time. And I think I had new hair cutting scissors, and those hair cutting scissors were very sharp. And I think they were on my counter or something, and so that's what led me to do that. And yeah, so I cut up pretty close to my wrist, horizontal, because, I mean, they have that joke in Family Guy where Meg yells, she's like, vertical for suicide, horizontal for attention, or something. Because when you cut it horizontal, it's not going to kill you unless you, like, freaking use a saw or something. I don't know. Anyways, but I didn't know this. And I cut myself quite deep at this point. And like I had said before, I had never cut myself to the point where, I don't know, it was a big issue. And before this point, it was enough for me to get away with there being scars and stuff on my arms because the scars were not very noticeable. I'm just going to chill and relax. Yeah. God, that sounded really creepy. And so when I cut myself, it was quite deep. Oh, fuck you. It stopped again. Oh my God. Stop it. I swear something is up with my camera because, dude, this is the how many times am I going to have to deal with this stupid shit? Okay, there we go. I started it again, but God damn it. Anyways, Olive Garden, cutting yourself story. Jeez, oh my God, that sounded like a velociraptor or something. So I was bleeding a lot. And I actually was nervous. I didn't want to cut myself to kill myself. I wanted to cut for it to hurt, and I'll get into that in a second. And so at that point, I actually said to my mom, can you come here? And I said to her, please don't freak out, very calmly. I think I had tears all over my face though, so she could immediately tell that something was up. Also, I mean, I wouldn't have to have tears on my face. She's my mom. She would just know. She has that intuition. And I said, I cut myself and I'm nervous that I cut it too deep and then I'm going to need to go to the hospital. When in reality, it wasn't, it was deep. It was deep enough for it to not stop bleeding for a long time. And for, I don't know how many years later, for the scar to still be so present on my arm. But oh, I don't know what that noise was. So she helped me bandage it up and everything, and that was that one. It was because I was very mad and very disappointed in myself, and that's what it usually comes down to, is I hate myself so much when stuff happens that I feel my body deserves to feel that pain. And I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot of stupid shit. Look, all right, you're listening to Inside Crazy. I'm crazy. I've come to the terms that I am, and that's okay. All right? I didn't come here in this world to purposefully be crazy. It sucks, all right? You try being crazy. I dare you. Just try one day. Being crazy like me. It sucks, all right? You have to work hard and kick ass and kick your own ass to make sure, that you're in line and not too hard on yourself. And so I also wanted to mention that I promise that these will get happier, okay? My videos, my podcast, everything will become happier as I get better. But the truth is, I'm so fucking bad right now that I can't make anything happier. Honestly, people come to me and say, oh, it would be so great if you made this happy video or this one. I'm like, dude, I want to. You trust me there. But I'm just very sad and stuck in my bed all day. Okay? I would love to abide to your wishes and make something happy. But I'm just sad right now. And I wanted to make these videos while I was still, you can't really tell that I'm sad, but this is calm, JJ. Usually I'm a lot more all over the place. I'll get to the happy stuff eventually is my point, okay? I just wanted to make these videos because I first of all, I need to grow my channel so I can make a living off this. Please. For real. I mean, if this is not the perfect job for somebody who has agoraphobia, social anxiety, blah, 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 all the fucking symptoms of my anxiety that I have. Basically, if I'm afraid of people as much as I'm afraid of people unintentionally and you get horrible physical side effects from just being in public, oh, this is perfect. So yeah, can I just do this forever, and can I just balls up and make these videos all the time? That would be nice. We'll get there. Just positivity and strength, JJ. Come on. This pen will surge some positive strength inside your head. And also leave little red marks. Yep, there we go. Beautiful. God. Okay, moving on. So, like I said before, a lot of them I don't remember the specifics as to why I cut, because I have so many of them at this point. But this one I am actually kind of nervous to talk about this one, because this is where people would be like, oh, see, she is doing it for attention. But just listen to the whole story, okay? That is me saying this is a very difficult situation, and we're going to talk about it, okay? Because we want to spread the word of self-harm and how it sucks. But, people are mentally ill, and that's not well known enough. So let's get this shit out there in the ways. So I had this boyfriend, like my first, I don't know, I want to say first serious. I was a senior and he was in college, and it was shit. It was a shit relationship. I was incredibly insecure. He was incredibly insecure. Mixing two incredibly insecure teens together is just a disaster. I mean, ask any parent out there. I mean, most parents at least. God, teens are so awkward. I'm so awkward. I'm 24. So I had this dude I was dating, and he sucked at dating, man. I mean, you could be better. If you're watching this, I'm hoping you're better now, but oh my God, go fuck yourself back then. Seriously, like, let me just punch you in the face real quick. No, I like to joke about it now and everything, but it really does not get to me, especially, I mean, maybe it does, but nowhere near like what it did. So let's get into the story. So, I found out that this guy had cheated on me so I was visiting my sister in Cal Poly, or at San Luis Obispo. I always used to get that mixed up. She went to Cal Poly, and I was visiting her for Halloween, and I had a really, really sick looking face paint. I looked dope, and I had just lost a bunch of weight. I was feeling so hot, and I was feeling so good. But at the same time, I was feeling shit because, anxiety. But, oh God. I don't know what happened. I think I popped a rib. Anyways. So, this good stuff. It was Halloween. I was in SLO and he was in Chico. So, for anybody out there who doesn't know what Chico is, Chico, California is basically, I mean, I've actually never been there, so I can't, I mean, just from what I know, it's very party place. Like, everybody goes there to party, and it's not the classiest of partying either. No offense to anybody that lives in Chico and they're watching this. This is just from what I've heard, and plus I just am sensitive a little bit to that topic, because shit always happened to me when like a boyfriend went to Chico. It's just weird, all right? It just happens. So anyways, there were lots of signs that he cheated on me, and it's actually really funny. Number one, he had left a voicemail. He had called me on accident, and I'm a freaking detective, okay? When you are a teenage girl and you have a phone, you have social media, and you are pissed off and want to find out if someone's cheated, holy shit, you become the smartest woman in the world and you are just a fucking detective, I swear. Because first of all, he left the voicemail. I listened to it probably 25 times to hear everything. I think I even went onto the computer and made the audio louder. I don't know. But basically, he was saying something to his guy friends about how he something her ass, like smacked her ass or something. And I'm like, okay, he only talks shit about me to his friends, so there's no way he's talking about me. And so the next clue, what was the next clue? What was the next one? Oh, he stopped texting me. He stopped texting me that night, and, being a teenager and all that, being two insecure teenagers, all we did was text nonstop. It was ridiculous. So that was a big sign. And then, this is all just so funny because it's so stupid. What else did he do? Okay, these are probably not in chronological order. Basically, he tweeted out 2 tweets that was like, she is, what the fuck was it? She's taken all the blankets though. Oh, something like, partying with Haley. I think her name was Haley. I don't know. All night, made my night, babe, or something. Partying with you all night made my night, babe. And then the next, 3 hours later at 2:30 in the morning, it was like, she's taking up all the blankets though. Okay. So, that's nice. I wonder what that means. What's going on there? So I confronted him about it, and he straight up just lied and was like, oh, I tweeted those things to seem cool in front of my guy friends, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted so desperately to believe him, because at this point I was so insecure. Even after I had lost a lot of weight and was feeling hot, I was still a very insecure person. And basically the point, let's just pass a lot of the rest of the story and get to the point and say that he made me believe for I don't know, the longest time that I was just overthinking everything and that he didn't actually cheat, which he did. I found out a year and a half later. I was driving him home one day, and I asked him, dude, just tell me, can you verbally say that you cheated on me so that I can just get that closure that I need? Yeah, fucker cheated, and it's good stuff. No hard feelings to you anymore, man. We're cool right now, but it's a very funny story, so I'm gonna fucking tell it. So sue me. But because of all this, because of I was unable to come to the terms that he had cheated on me. I wanted to believe him, and then he was kind of turning it on me, making me think that I was just being crazy, and I already thought that I was crazy, and I didn't know exactly what was wrong with me at this point. So I was just all over the place. And what happens when and before I cut myself, it's like a built up rage and just pent up energy all inside my body that needs to come out. And unfortunately, it comes out in a really awful way. And I need to fucking stop. Yeah. And okay, let's go to the next one, the next cut, because I'm starting to lose the energy that I'm having right now to make this podcast, and I'm starting to feel like I want to crawl into my bed and hide, but we're going to finish it. I'm wearing the same shirt as I did last time. That's nice. I'm going to spit a little bit. Bravo. All right, so the next time, it was, oh God, because, let's fast forward a few years. I've gotten so much worse. As I've gotten older, my anxiety has gotten worse. It's every single year, I'm a new version of myself, just more sick. Stupid. Anyways, so, God, this is where it gets The reasons back then made more sense as to why I cut myself. I mean, there had actual reasonings that people could relate to and be like, oh yeah, okay, I see you cut yourself because of this, and that's really shitty. That's a stupid way to respond. Don't ever fucking do that. But I see why you did it. But now, with the way that I cut myself, it is over the stupidest shit. And it's just merely because of all this pent-up energy of hating myself that just becomes released when I do that. And it's not even released it's maybe just for the next 5 hours or so. It's for the shortest amount of time I feel better. And so it's stupid. It's like doing drugs, honestly. Not weed. Excluding weed, like hard drugs. It's like doing hard drugs. It gives you that rush and that high, but it doesn't last long, and it's doing nothing but literally harming your body. Jeez. And so, yeah, this is the time. This is the cut. I'm about to explain why I had to go to urgent care and get stitches. I had 12 stitches on this cut because it was so bad that I basically was forced by my boyfriend to go to get stitches because it was bad. And yeah. Here we go. This is the stupid fucking reason as to why. Just as well as all my other reasonings lately, because they're so fucking stupid. Okay. So, I have a very bad eating disorder that goes along with my anxiety. I have a lot of problems that are a direct result of my anxiety. And I've never gotten into talking about my eating disorder because people just reject it and say I don't have one. And I've literally just come to terms with the fact that I do in the last couple of days. Because for many years of my life, I have dedicated my days to like what food I'm going to have. Or like, okay, I'm trying to sneak this food past my parents or the people that care about me and don't want me to eat shit all the time. How am I going to do that? So I revolve my whole day around figuring out how to get that food, how much I can eat, just thinking about food constantly because it has been an escape for me. It's like cutting, but it gives me that happy, satisfied feeling when I have a really good burger or a really good milkshake or really fucking good bagel bites. Oh my God. I just get so... I'm starting to think about it. I'm starting to think about food and bagel bites and all that shit. What are you doing to yourself, JJ? So this time, I'm just going to try to say this. Fuck. I'm just scared to say this one. Basically, my boyfriend was supposed to come over, and he was supposed to bring pizza. My parents went home and were on a walk, and I was like, perfect. He could come with the pizza, and we can eat upstairs, and my parents won't even know. And since food is so important to me, him calling me because he was running late made me freak the fuck out. Because I knew my parents were going to be home at a certain time, and I was trying to time everything perfectly so that they wouldn't see that I was eating shit. And it's, food has really it has been a huge problem in my life, and I need to fucking get that fixed. But I started freaking out because I found out he was going to be late, and it was just ruining all of my perfectly timed plans, which is something else that people with anxiety, I'm sure, can relate to, is that you want everything to be perfect and in your control. And when something falls out of your control, you go nuts. And that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, my boyfriend explains it. I mean, actually, fuck, I don't know if this was the same time. I don't know. It's all over the place. I have so many anxiety attacks that I can't remember which is which. Basically, after I cut myself, went to urgent care. the responses from the doctors and the nurses were very awkward because they didn't know how to respond to somebody who had just cut themselves but seemed completely fine. Because, I had cut myself maybe an hour before, and so I was feeling that high. I was feeling fine. I was completely fine in that situation. And, not in that situation, but in that moment in time, because of the fact that all of that pent-up energy was released from the cut. And so they didn't understand how somebody so calm and like fine and being able to speak and look people in the eye could have just cut themselves deep enough to have to get 12 stitches. They really couldn't wrap their head around it. And they were very awkward around me, except for one nurse. She came back in and she said, I just want you to tell you that I think you're absolutely beautiful and be happy because there's lots to be happy about in the world. And that meant a lot to me because everyone else was super awkward about it. And that's been a lot of responses from people in my life once I've told that I've had self-harm or they see it, is that they're super awkward about it. And to go into that, I've had coworkers, I've explained this in the other video, why mentally ill people cut themselves, but I want to talk about this more, is that I had coworkers that I worked with that would ask me, like new ones that I hadn't seen. Maybe it had been like the couple days before that I had cut myself and like the scar was already, developed and the scab was gone or something. I don't know. And so like it was a fresh one, or they were new and we had been comfortable enough at this point that they felt, because people, like I have said before, people get very comfortable around me because I feel like I'm very empathetic towards other people's feelings because I'm so weird. I don't know. We can get into that another time, but it's, yeah. They would say, I can remember specifically, like I would take the pizza out of the oven, and since my arm was up and exposed, the other people who were in the kitchen would be able to see my arm, and they would be like, oh, JJ, what is that? And I would come up with some fucking lame excuse. The excuses were so lame, but my acting was really good that it pulled off. Because they'd be like, this is literally how I would do it. They would say, oh, JJ, what is that? And I was like, I just cut, wait, what did I say? It's like, I just cut it, or I just burned it on the oven, or, like, no big deal, acting like it's fine. And then they would say, oh, I thought it's because you cut yourself, like joking around. And then I would immediately go into saying, oh yeah, it's like I would do that, like I would just cut myself. Like I would just like start joking with them about cutting. And because I knew that if they thought that I wasn't sensitive to the topic of cutting, that they wouldn't believe that I actually cut myself. It sucks because I nannied for a few years and I really, really love those two girls. And it sucks because I would cut myself and then the girls would see it, and the younger one, she wouldn't know, but the older one, she's fucking smart. She's very smart for her age. And so I know that my excuses were just like, she would just kind of be like, you could just tell that she kind of knew. And that was so shitty for me because when initially people's responses to someone cutting themselves is kind of, you look down on that person, or that person is so unstable that they did that. It's, oh shit, that scared me. Sorry, the garage door just opened. I'm sure you guys heard that. I think that will be the end to this. I wanted to make this video because I cut myself last night. Fucking stupid, I know. Please, if you're watching this, don't think I'm endorsing cutting yourself, because that is the last thing I want to do when I talk about this. I want to talk about why I do it so people know why other people do it. And there's not so much of a negative stigma around it, but to say that it's not the way. It's not the way. You do not want to cut yourself and then see the looks from the people that you care about when they look at your arm. You just do not. I promise you. And that's exactly, I did it last night because I just felt incredibly helpless and incredibly mad and so disgusted with myself. And I promise you, like I said, it will get better. These videos will become happier. I'll become happier. Everything will be good. But I want to make this while it's raw, while I can talk about it. They're home. I gotta go. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll be back with Inside Crazy because I'm a crazy bitch. Crazy bitch.